TV, anime, video games, books, Star Trek, Marvel, My Hero, Hook. It don't matter what you into, don't matter what you do, here on Nerd Shit, we got something for you.
Welcome back to Nerd Shit, Hypothetically Sound Podcast, where we talk about nerd stuff. On the last episode, if you guys are tuning in, we talked about episode 1, season 1, episode 1 of The Walking Dead. Now we're going to talk about episode 2 of season 1 of The Walking Dead. As we said before, we've all watched to various points in the series. We wanted to rewatch and talk about it together, so here we are. So here goes a quick synopsis of episode 2, and then we'll get in talking about what we thought about the episode. So we left off with Rick in a tank with his ears ringing because he shot a zombie like an idiot. But Rick was ambushed by a walker horde, but is rescued by scavenger survivor Glenn when he becomes trapped inside a tank. They meet up with the rest of the survivors and study the building to discover that the best plan for escape. An unruly teammate, Merle, begins to attract walkers and attack the group and is cuffed by Rick to a pipe. Glenn and Rick later pose as walkers to go out on the street and successfully rescue the rest of the group. But they are forced to abandon Merle and Rick's gun bag behind in the chaos. So, what stood out to you guys in episode 2 that you want to talk about? Either of you.
Let's see if I remember correctly. Actually, it's gonna be a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe The Walking Dead was one of the first shows on primetime, minus Boondocks, where I ever heard a character say the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
Which was interesting.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me or nothing. It's just like it's one of those things that you just don't expect to see before like midnight or 1:00 a.m. and not on like a channel like that, I guess.
Yeah, I think it like obviously I think probably other shows have like cussed and stuff, but AMC definitely took advantage of that. We're a pay for cable channel, so we don't have the rules that basic cable has that like NBC, ABC has. And they did it too. They did it fantastically. Like the whole scene with Merle and his racism and everything that happened there was fantastic. I think it set the grittiness of the show up very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously they move away from all of that later. Like I think they move away from the like realness language.
Kinda.
Like they still obviously are bloody and gory, but I don't feel like they're as like.
Negan definitely dropped some slurs.
Does he?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then they
step away from the racism ones, but they do use other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see more of the racism stuff in Fear of the Dead, with everything happening around Mexico.
Yeah.
So it kind of just made the bridge over to that show.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also good because it just showed that like even during, I think it's realistic. First of all, even during like that times that like some of these unwanted values were still present.
Prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change just because, it could be you and one other person on Earth, and if your racism is stronger, you're not even, you're not going to change your feelings about that person because you don't want to change who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest takeaway in episode 2 was the whole revelation with Rick being alive and the look on Shane's face when he saw Rick.
That's episode 3.
It's not into?
Nope.
No, episode 2 is all in Atlanta. You meet Glenn for the first time.
But don't they come back?
That's the start of episode 3.
Oh, well then, sorry.
No, yeah. Season 2
my notes aren't very good.
Season 2 ends with like them leaving. Like they get everybody in the truck.
Oh, leaving him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and T-Dog locks the door. Gotcha. Would you have left him
100%. I mean, Honestly,
Oh,
no.
It did.
I would have unlocked him. I wouldn't have left him handcuffed.
yeah, humanity wins the
If
world,
we're
but
leaving, obviously, like Murrow's been part of the camp, and while he was doing stupid shit up there, he wasn't gonna leave anybody. Like eventually, would have all got on the truck and went home because he would have got hurt if he went back without people. So you could have unlocked him and made him get on the truck with everybody or whatever. I didn't think leaving him handcuffed was smart. But
Well,
also,
do you think T Dog dropped the keys on purpose?
no.
no.
T Dog is just a clumsy, like you see it later on in in next season. He's just a clumsy dude. Like had two left feet type person. Plus he probably had a concussion too, getting beat down. Which was also funny. T Dog was a big dude. Like he was a husky dude. Why didn't he fight back?
I mean, might not be
Did
a
they ever-
fighter, to be fair.
True.
Yeah, do they?
Like, I think it proves later on, spoiler, that he.
True. What are you saying?
Like, you gotta remember that he's just a normal dude, and Meryl out here being a meth head and shit.
True. You were saying something, Mom?
No, I was just like, I was trying to think if there was a backstory for him, but I don't think they ever do one.
No. T Dog, no.
Yeah.
Well, T Dog's just there. I honestly don't think you hear anything about his past. I don't recall it. We'll see as we keep watching. But yeah, I don't recall anything much about his past being explored. It's kind of messed up, but to be expected. So would I think it's like there's a couple things in this episode that are confusing me. Like Rick has now dealt with zombies for all of what, maybe 48 hours, 72 hours at this point.
Oh, it's been a week. I think he stayed with Morgan for a little bit.
Okay, so this would say a max a week. And what he knows heading into Atlanta is the walkers are attracted by sound. And they kind of can rehash things they already know, because he saw the wife come back to the door and probably spotted other people doing stuff that they normally would do. So why is it when this man comes and the survivors have been around this big hordes multiple times, does he come up with a way to make them be able to walk past the horde? Like they know that they're attracted to our smell. So he goes, "Oh, why don't we just smell like them then?" That never occurred to anybody else up to that point.
I think like it's a morality thing. And even if they have been doing that for a while, like I feel like you have to lose some part of yourself to be in that thought process, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rick just kind of a psychopath.
True.
But like I'll be real with you, I never would have thought of cutting up a zombie and just like slapping the guts on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds awful, disgusting to deal with, dangerous, because like what if it don't work?
Mm-hmm. Or any diseases or sickness they have, it's
like
easily transmitted by blood into you.
The fear of the unknown already when you're facing so much isn't almost worth that risk.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I just think it's funny that he walks in and like he's asking them questions about the walkers, and then they're like, how do they know it's us? Well, they smell and we don't. And so he's like, yeah, let's cut open. And they go and they get the truck. And then comes my biggest point of grief in episode 2. They have mentioned now at this point multiple times that sound attracts walkers. And that's why they go break into the car or whatever it is, and have the alarm going off so he can attract the walkers. Why in the world does this man bring the car all the way back to his camp? Why, once they get the truck in, why didn't they meet up somewhere, leave the car there, and just take the truck back?
Because
or disable the alarm.
Well, I honestly don't think any of them would have known. Like the only person who knew how to do it was the guy who gets bit, like has the fever dream and everything. And he does it because he's a fixer. He knows about cars and stuff. So like that makes sense that he would know how to do it. I wouldn't know how to pull out the alarm. Like if my alarm was going off and we didn't have the keys and stuff, I would have no clue how to shut it off. Other than
True.
unhooking the battery. It's just weird that he just took it there. And like, yeah, I think that Glenn has a good arc too of from what he was, this stupid, like
It's
20-year-old kid to what he becomes later on. And this is a great example. Like, yeah, he took the car all the way up there while blaring the alarm and giving the walkers who were stuck in Atlanta a way out because they just followed the sound. Anything else that stuck out to you guys in episode 2?
No, dude. I'm sorry.
I was just say, I do have to say the introduction of Glenn's character though was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, idiot.
Yeah. Oh, Glenn is by far one of my favorite characters in the series.
Agreed.
Which
He's
makes
one of
sense
the
why I stopped watching after season 7. But yeah, it's one of my favorite characters. I think his arc is fantastic, even though it happens very quickly. Where like Shane and like I guess everybody's arc like happens very quickly. But I feel like Glenn just like goes from one episode being Glenn that we knew to the next episode being this adult Glenn. But again, we'll get there, and I have a reason why. But still, it's a very abrupt change. I know Alex said he didn't have anything else for episode 2. Mom, you got anything left you want to talk about for season 2 or episode 2? I mean,
No. Nope.
Okay. So, hypothetical for this one, you see because they're watching. So you're Glenn. You see a guy walking with a horse. You see the horse, and he goes into a tank. Do you use him in that tank as a escape option? So he's distracting a bunch of walkers. Now you guys have a chance to escape without the walkers seeing you, or do you try to save the dude?
Probably save.
If I
Honestly.
could figure out a way to save. I mean, Glenn really didn't have to do anything when he was saving him. He was just giving him direction, get out and run.
Mm-hmm.
And if he went to beat the zombies there, Glenn would have just shut the gate and says, "Oops, sorry, dude."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I save. I think I use it as a distraction. Only reason I might save is if you're able to see what the bag he was carrying and you saw the guns. It's a huge risk, and surviving a zombie apocalypse is by minimizing risk. And like, granted, this risk paid dividends to the extreme, but there's no way for him to know any of it, and it just seems like an unnecessary risk that I wouldn't have personally taken.
That's fair. That's fair. I think like it was early enough in the apocalypse
Mm-hmm.
that like there wasn't a question on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
their humanity was still very much intact, and
I mean, even the one group that in the next episode, I don't know, I'm going a little ahead, sorry. The one group that they meet up
the
with,
Vatos,
the Vatos, like they're also not bad people,
mm-hmm.
right? There's just a couple gang members that taking care of the elderly at the home, and they're just trying their best. So, like at this point in time, every group, I figure every group has some sort of good intention.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Rick's group, however they are, like they slowly become more and more like inclusive and hostile throughout the time periods, the seasons and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that evolution is very similar to almost every single other group, even Negan's.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's stuff we're missing. I'm pretty sure they like go back to the I think they go and show a little bit about Shane and Laurie being more of a couple during the episode.
Yeah, they go make out in the woods.
They go to the woods and it shows that they're having, sex. And so you get to see a little bit of the survivors because you get to see Carl for the first time, and
that's where they start introducing Carol and Ed and him being abusive.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we'll get more into Shane and Laurie in the next episode when everything pops off. But yeah, the main crust of episode 2 was Merle and the group, and then Rick finding an escape route for Glenn and everybody. Any last words?
None.
My final words is these people are really trusting of Rick. Like, the dude can't take care of himself, but you're putting a lot of trust in this dude to take care of you.
See, can you even say that though? Hold on, like he can't take care of himself when they're all stranded up on a building with 6 of them, and he just walked up in that town like it wasn't nothing. Like they didn't know that he just woke up, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just all assuming that he knew what Atlanta was, and that he was bold enough to come on a horse by himself. And not only that, he just escaped a dire situation with just directions, right? Mm-hmm. So it means he's somewhat capable, because like if he died, it's no skin off of Glenn's. Like, this man's just like, he died because he put himself in a garbage situation, and I did my best, which was give him directions, and he just ain't listen. He wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. Like after someone survives that, you just is like, wow, I couldn't do it.
I guess it makes sense when you put it that way. Yeah, like I keep forgetting, like they don't know that he's just woke up. So yeah, it's someone who should know. Like they're just seeing a man roll in on a horse with a police outfit on. So you're with guns and stuff. So I'm guessing Glenn is assuming that this man has been alive and is just a cowboy rolling into Atlanta trying to save people. So I guess that makes sense why they trust him. At least why Glenn trusts him wholeheartedly.
Helps wearing his sheriff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also wearing all his uniform and stuff.
He also probably helps that Rick talks like he's like suspicious of everybody, and he's in a murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about the way people, when they talk like that, man. You kind of suspicious of them because they suspicious of you, Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, this guy you gotta watch out for.
Yeah,
that's weird. I don't know. I got a weird mind.
So ended like I gave a interesting tidbit on the last episode. I'll give one to end the episode here. The sign on the white box truck that Rick and Glenn steal to rescue all the people with. Reads Frenick Builders. Frenick is the given name of series developer writer Frank Dubernick. So it was a nod to the series developer writer.
Yeah. Well, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. We'll have episode 3, 4, 5, 6 coming up in the future. I'll put out these maybe once or twice a week. So thank you guys again. And until next time, have a great day. Deuces.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Hypothetically Sound. We hope you enjoyed the episode. All episodes can be found at hypotheticallysound.podbean.com, as well as on Apple, Spotify, and Pandora. For full unedited video versions of the podcast, please visit us at youtube.com/hypothetically sound.